Whether it's a big one or a little one?
No, not at this stage.
Right. I'll pick that for you, John. I want to get rich.
Okay, so again we take one of these and we put to get rich on it. Right, okay, here we go. The only rules are we need one relationship between each pair of neighbouring players, one detail attached to each relationship, at least one need, which we've already got to get rich, one location and one object.
So was the location already picked? Is that the Wild West?
Well, no, locations can be like specific locations, like
right.
residences,
Okay.
or the Bradford Hotel is one. Okay, so since we need a relationship between like each character, I'm going to look at picking a relationship from mine. So I'm going to pick. I'm going to stick this between myself and Carvel, and I'm going to pick family, which is listed there.
Have I got all my sisters with me?
Okay, so we're going to you again, Hannah.
Okay, so I obviously picked crime already.
Yeah, no, we've only
So
got
one
3
of
of
you.
these dice remaining because you only pick half of them, I think. So don't think you need to have a relationship between each of the characters.
Yeah. So, if you two are... Oh, now you went number 1 family.
Yep.
Right, I'm going to pick number 2 and say that we are all cousins.
Well, that just adds to this relationship. It doesn't set up a relationship between mine and your characters.
Well, it does, because I'm your cousin, you're his cousin.
No, because that family relationship only applies to those 2 characters.
Okay, so who's my crime relationship to? Who have I been doing crime with?
You may not have been doing the crime. Crime, I think, is part of the plot.
My
Yeah.
crime it's under relationships.
Okay, so
Crime.
in which case you need to like put that either between me and you. It's a relationship between our characters, or between you and Carval, it's a relationship between his character.
So if you just choose who your crime partner is, you're doing crime, it's with
Right.
one of us.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was wondering whether it's the older one or the younger one.
So if
Yeah, well,
we,
you see, we wouldn't have done that one before you decided crime, so you've had to decide before.
Right, okay, I've been doing crime with John Carvel.
now that family relationship is between me and him.
Yeah.
Just me and him. The crime relationship
Right,
is between
okay,
just me
so I'll
and you.
make a new card with a new family relationship. That's... I'm
Two's
your
not family,
cousin.
it's work.
That's I'm your cousin.
Okay, so you define that as, again, family. So, on to yourself, John.
Right. And so at the moment I'm looking to define a location.
Well, we've got a relationship between each of the characters, so that's done.
Right.
So the other thing we need is one detail attached to each relationship, so obviously determining what they are. At least one need. We've also got good to get rich, which, since it's a general need, can apply to everyone, so that might be the Fiasco. We're all trying to like get rich in this Wild West town. We need at least one prospect of pink. We need at least one location and one object as well, because they sort of like they're the things around which are like revolve.
Let's have a look at the locations then.
Okay, so for general locations, we've got residences, the Bradford Hotel, the decent part of town, across the tracks, up in the hills, or Indian country.
Is that Scarab a 6 or a 1?
That's already on a card.
Oh, is it? Sorry.
It's a 1.
We haven't got a 6.
There's no Indian country for you.
However, there'll be zombies in them there hills. 5 hills. In the hills. We ought to be really careful in case the sound of music happens. So I hear the hills come alive with that. I also hear they have eyes.
Okay. So that's come round to me again. So
And you need the other thing.
An
An
object.
yeah. So before we start filling in the details on these, I'm going to look at objects, which realistically will be the last card we have, to have to use the last 6 to like define details on these.
Right,
Okay, so objects, let's see what we've got. Oh, it's got to be. I'm going to go for a weapon. Okay, so basically the sort of broad thing we've got at the minute is we've got, you're involved in some crime with Carvel. All of us are family, and this fiasco's involving some sort of get-rich-quick scheme that may or may not take place up in the hills and involve a weapon of some kind. So now we've moved on to you, so we're on to like defining the details for those, which again you use the dice for.
Right, so what can and can't I affect? Because you said I can't affect that one.
You can affect it, but it'll only affect our relationship, whereas if you affect that, it only affects our relationship.
So on these cards, at the moment, you're family, you're not cousins specifically. If you want to be cousins and it's on the
Right,
list,
okay, yeah.
you've then got to pick up, say it's a 2, and put the 2 on your
So
card.
that's the card
so-
one.
But we also have the get rich, the location, the object.
Yeah.
Okay, what I'm going to do then is leave defining these two to you and pick one of them now.
Okay.
So we either want to get rich.
Planes jumping.
I've got a bit that was what sprang immediately to
2,
mind.
3,
I was
4.
like, oh, a weapon. Trying to get rich up in the hills.
I think I've been jumping more than Bones, John. I think I've been jumping Claytons.
That's what you basically saying is this game revolves around the quest for someone like trying to steal your golden nuggets.
So we're trying to get rich through robbing a business.
Okay. So we note that down on here. Okay, so it's on to you, John.
Right, I would like the book, please. 4. So you've done that.
Could do with those 6 charts printed at half the size on a single sheet of paper, couldn't you?
Yeah. Well, like I said, this is
so
only
many charts in the book, it'd be daft to.
well, this is only the first time we've done it, and we've just sort of like thrown it together. So
That's cool. So you've now got 3, 4 or 5. You can
I'll have
choose
one of those 4s on location. Where's it? Up in the hills, yeah. And it's Gold Creek Shantytown.
nice. I'm going to go for a 3 on the family relationship between mine and Hannah's characters, and I'll put siblings. So it's on to you again, Hannah.
Let's look at object list. So we've got a pair of Colts, a Sioux War Club, or a crate of dynamite.
I know which one I'd go for.
Is it the last one by any chance?
Yeah, of course.
Kaboom!
Of course it fucking is.
John, I will both sit here, go cross their fingers, go,
A crate of dynamite.
dynamite,
it is.
dynamite, dynamite, dynamite. Just right, kaboom.
All that's left now is for you to decide what sort of crime we're doing,
So-
or how you're related to John, and then John decides the other.
Exactly.
I'm having 4 on that crime. Faith healer and patient. Because that will leave siblings for family, for yourself. But I just thought, like, snake oil salesman, it's easy enough for any one of us to say, my friend here, we never met before.
So does this
No.
make?
So what have we got left for
Siblings.
Siblings, okay.
So this would make
This means we're all siblings.
either we are siblings or we're both your half sibling, presumably.
Or vice versa, yeah.
Right, so at this point, and this isn't with like rolling dice, this is just like deciding, we need to sort of like roughly decide like who our characters are in terms of like this like web of relationships we're creating.
Okay, who's the oldest sibling?
I'll go with being oldest.
Which one of us is the faith healer and which one of us is the patient?
I think we could all do a faith healer or justice. I'll go for the faith or healer.
Okay.
So I was thinking like maybe none of us are the faith healer, maybe we're trying to like rob the faith healer. It says like we're trying to rob a business. Maybe he's like been making quite a lot of dough out of like grateful people, and we're like,
Are we going to try justify our crime as well in a sociopathic way of saying, well, he's actually like doing crime to other people.
Yeah, he's just
So
robbing.
therefore, we're not committing a crime.
Yeah, he's just robbing
In fact-
people. So we're like, well, why shouldn't we help ourselves to like a
In
bit of
fact,
money? He's just
he
robbed
robbed
our
our
family.
old dad, and it's left us with nothing when our old dad's died.
Oh, I like that. Maybe the old dad was like ill for a bit, and like this faith healer got the claws into
Poor
him.
Ma's sick, and now he's like chatting her up.
No, because then he knows.
Yeah, I reckon just like got his claws into our father, bilked him for all his money. He then obviously died, and we were like, I was pissed away all of our like inheritance we were supposed to get, like the ranch and whatever, on this faith healer. So we're like, oh, not only are we going to get money, we're going to get
Not the ranch.
payback.
No,
Not
leaving
the
us.
ranch,
No,
the
leaving us in Gold Creek shanty town.
It's a shanty town.
And
we
then
can't
this
afford to
dude
live anywhere
rolls
else.
into town.
Yeah, it turns up again after all these years, thinking, oh, no one will remember me, and we're like, come
We
back and say,
remember
we
you.
remember you.
Nice, like that.
Okay, so next thing we need to do is we each take one of these index cards, fold it like that.
Is it okay if mine's written in crayon, John?
Yes, fine. I can write it for you if you want. It's not.
Oh, I thought they'd have to be secret.
No, this is basically so you can like put your character name on it and put it like that.
Yeah, remember to take that for D&D.
Okay, so we each need to come up with a name for our character.
Jet.
Jet.
Jet. Nobody knows how it's spelled. It's probably Jed.
Alright.
There we go. Jet.
Let's see if I'm going to write it down as Jet.
J-E-D. Maybe double D.
What's your last name?
Same as you. Oh, well, it doesn't have to be.
Although we could just like pick something easy like Clayton.
Yep,
Jet Clayton. Yeah, we'll have Clayton.
yep. That's a good one.
As long as you can go for Walton. I like what you've done there so I can remember who I am.
Okay, so what about yourself, Hannah?
Wild West girl name, flower name, Violet
Cactus.
Violet Clayton.
Cactus Clayton.
Clayton. Maybe that's my nickname.
I think that was going to be violent.
No need to get all prickly now, Cactus.
I like the way you're laughing without trying to. It's like already sounds like a Wild West.
But yes, you're right. Normally my laugh is a bit fucking Wild West sometimes.
Right, so what could I be called then? I'm just going to go for like the world's most like ambiguous name. Bill Clayton. That's
Bill
alright.
Bixby.
I've got the world's most boring Wild West name.
Bill. You no idea how unhappy I was when another Bill came into our house.
Okay, so all of these dice here. Now I've got taken off the cards.
I thought that was getting worried then.
Do they have to stay the same number?
No, just dump them in the centre.
Okay.
Okay, well we've talked about what sort of people our characters are, what sort of situation we're in. We're all living in this shitty like one horse like Gold Creek shanty town. So our father got robbed of all his money by this faith healer. He's turned up into town and we're like, oh that's roughly our money. This riding around with fancy some of that. So as it says here, the central dilemma may not be about your character at all. In this case, it is about our characters, but it hinges on like this.
And I
faith
think
healer.
he should be called the Reverend Jebediah somebody.
Alright, write it on the card then.
You gotta trust a man named McFraudster. Nobody's gonna be called McFraudster if there were a fraudster now, were they? That's right. So I know a bloke called John Carpenter and he's not a carpenter.
Oh, he actually got killed in that Arctic base, wasn't he, by that shape-changing creature?
I don't even remember the joke.
Okay, so in terms of like the actual game, now the game proceeds in terms of scenes. So again, we start off with Hannah, and when it's your turn, your scene, you choose what it's a scene involving your character that's like pivotal to your character. It can involve any of this. It can involve like other random like NPCs you make up on the spot, or other characters. But
about locations, I mean, obviously,
it can involve other
stick to that area.
Yeah, that's the main location around which it all comes to a head, but you can introduce like other locations.
For example, you may go and see fucking.
I was thinking that we
Running
need some
Deer's
sort of
tent, maybe in the shanty town.
the Claytons are sitting around drinking what passes
Okay,
for whiskey.
before we get too far in, when it's your scene, you choose whether you want to establish or resolve. So basically, if you establish, you set up the scene. But you don't have to. If it's your scene, but you could go, do you know what, I'm just going to choose how this scene resolves. In which case, me and John come up with the initial setup, and you choose how it ends, or you choose how it starts, and we choose how it ends.
This scene starts in the shantytown tavern, where the three Claytons are sitting around,
And his brother cried.
looking extremely soulful, supping what passes for whiskey in the local area. I think of this as a sort of a prequel scene where our pa's just died. The first thing that happens in this scene is the barman comes over and says, "I was sorry to hear about your pa,"
Okay,
and
absolutely
offers us
grand.
a drink.
Now, just to like get a bit of the rules out there before we like again, you just role play this out like talking it out as you would do normally. Now, since Hannah set up the scene, at some point during the scene, myself and you, John, we decide whether it's going to have a positive or a negative outcome to the scene. When we've decided, whichever one of us does, all you do is you reach forward, pick up one of them dice and make sure everyone can see it. Obviously, if it's a big dice, we know it's going to be a positive end to the scene. If it's a little dice, we know it's going to be a negative end to the scene. Once you've shown the dice, like you show the dice to me, and once we've agreed, we then sort of like wrap up the scene, bringing it between us all, bringing it to a negative or a positive outcome.
So, just to wrap my head around this, as an example, a positive outcome might be that even though pa's died and we've lost all our money, the locals are sort of rallying around us and looking after us a bit, where a negative outcome would be a bar brawl.
Yeah, I mean, it's fairly sort of open.
Let's not rush to negative on the bar brawl front.
Well, that's it. It's fairly open. It's up to us, between us, to decide what constitutes a negative and a positive outcome. Then what happens is, once we've done that, we've brought the scene to a close, whichever of us had picked up that dice to determine how the scene ends, we give the dice to you, and at the start of the game, when you get that dice, you then have to hand it to one of us, and it goes in like our score pile.
I'm sure that bit will become apparent. Let's just deal with this scene resolution bit first.
Okay.
Yeah,
Worry
basically,
about scores,
the aim of the game is to get either more big dice or more little dice. You want mo of one of them, is basically how it goes.
My aim for the game is to have fun.
Yeah, let's make a story this time and
so
worry about
old-fashioned, John.
scoring next time. We'll do the scoring.
One of us is
but
going
let's
to
make a
win.
story this time.
Let's leave it as a surprise.
Okay, cool. All right, so you've set your scene up. You've described your scene. We're all sat round in this Old West bar, this cantina, if you will. Presumably in Gold Creek Shantytown.
So the barman's come up and he's basically said he's sorry to hear about it, Papa. Right, okay.
And he's poured us a whiskey, which is very generous for that barman.
Not as sorry as I was to hear.
At which point I sort of like Bill slams his glass down on the side, and I go, if I ever get my hands on that snake oil salesman again, I'll wring his neck for him.
You'll wring his neck? Yeah, won't be much left of him when I've tied him between two horses and whipped him. I can't believe Pa was so stupid. Everybody knows there's no cure for that weight loss. Everybody knows that. No matter how much gold you got, you ain't going to stop the Reaper. And that's what's going to happen to Jebediah when I get my fucking hands on it.
Still, desperate times will make a man do foolish things.
When I can't rob a man, I'll start letting him pay me.
You don't want nobody in here to hear. That guy we left, he could have gone anywhere.
Hell, there ain't a lawman within 5 miles of Gold Creek. Who'd come to a shithole like this if they didn't have to?
Bill. There's people around, and I'm going to say while we're sort of sat talking, a couple of people might be listening. So I reckon we've turned over a couple of people just trying to like get some food and stuff.
Yeah,
It started off like that, just robbing a couple of bits of beef or whatever. And
We've got a rat. Ain't no one going to mess with us when we're all three together.
yeah, well, I don't care how strong a man is. I've never seen a man stronger than 6 foot of rope.
So I'm suggesting, like by showing you that, it's a little one, I'm suggesting like a negative outcome.
Yeah, I think that somewhere in here is somebody who's quite talkative when a marshal might come through in a couple of years'
That's
time.
what I was thinking.
Because this is a
So we were like,
prequel
no, there's
scene.
no
Our dad's just died.
Yeah, because you can jump around in the timeline a bit. There's nothing to stop you going like, oh, the next scene takes place 5 years later.
Cool.
Because like, even if your character dies in a scene, the next scene you could be like, well, this happens like 2 years before I die.
I'm happy with the negative outcome, John.
Okay, so now what happens is we've decided that we decide how the scene reaches its negative outcome. So I'd suggest, just for simplicity's sake, we go with what we've said there. Maybe there's someone listening who thinks, oh, there is a marshal like passing through in a few days, and like you say, we have got a rep, so he maybe like turns us into the marshal. He's like, oh, I hear you're looking for them Claytons. Oh, they've got a little shack out on the western edge of Gold Creek.
Nice.
And like the marshal comes after us. So now what we do to conclude that scene is you choose which of us gets that dice.
So I pick one of you.
Yes.
Okay. It was Carvel's idea to have someone listening in, so I'm sure.
Okay, so you just put that in your pile. I'll stick it next to your character.
Don't know. Nobody's going to see what dice I've got.
Doesn't matter what it's on. Okay, so now we go on to you, John, for the next scene, deciding whether you want to establish or resolve.
Right. Can I resolve a scene that's not happened?
No. If you say, I want to resolve this scene, we then set up the scene that you get to resolve.
Right, okay. I'd like to set up... How many times do we get to do this?
Okay, basically we'll set up one scene for each of the dice in the middle, but what happens is the first half, so the first 6 scenes, are during the first sort of half of the game.
The setup of the movie.
Then like what's called like the tilt will occur, and that's when like some event occurs that like escalates things. And in the first half of the game,
mid-season climax.
Yeah, in the first half of the game, we're giving the dice to other people when we resolve our scenes. In the second half of the game, after that, you keep the dice that you get from your scenes. So there'll be 12 scenes in all. There'll be another 5, including your one, before we get to like the midway crisis.
Right, okay. In that case, I'd like to establish a scene.
Okay.
It's 8 months later. We've been driven out of our previous home, and we're trying to just like lay low, skirting around for a bit. And we find ourselves with a stagecoach being held up.
We're holding it up.
We're holding up the stagecoach, yeah. Inside the stagecoach is a priest, a pregnant woman, and a governor.
Okay.
And the stagecoach driver, just to establish the scene, he's not paid enough for this shit. He's happily put down his
3
gun.
days from retirement.
He's happily put down his gun. He's just going to wait while we unburden these good people from their valuables, and then he's going to drive the stagecoach, which is exactly what he's playing for, sir. Thank you very much. Please don't shoot me.
Okay, so now we play out this scene. Me and you, Hannah, at any point where we think, oh yeah, we've decided how this is going to resolve, you either, if it's a positive one, you pick a big dice and like, show it to me. If it's a negative, you think of a small dice and show it to me, and we decide between us whether it's going to be positive or negative. So, go for it, John. Let's start playing this scene.
Okay, right.
So I have to pick up the dice.
Well, no, any of us. Wouldn't you think, I know how the scene's going to end?
Jed will be looking back at Bill, who's still got his gun trained on the fucking the stagecoach driver.
I imagine we've maybe got some like old nags who've like ridden out, and I maybe sat on the horse with like a shotgun, like covering you.
I'll be looking in the eyes through the eyes and glass window at the people, and then shout up top to, "Hey Violet, what's the luggage looking like up there? Any good pickings?" Mad fan day. Lord!
There's some interesting lingerie in the governor's box.
Now what would I be interested in no lingerie for? In the governor's? Hey! Are you a Nancy boy?
I'm going to sort of like tug up my, the sort of bandanas they wear across their face a bit more. I'm going to sort of tug up my thing and go, "Don't use people's names." Like, to you, because you're just merrily like shouting our names out.
You're an idiot. These were the made up names. I thought if I made up the names the same as our own names, then I wouldn't forget them. But people wouldn't think they're our real names, because of course we're not going to use our real names. Idiot!
However, now you've just told them.
Well,
I swear Mama dropped you on the head when you were young.
Well, that's neither here nor there. Now, preacher, would you be knowing what time it is? Reach inside, he'll take out his little... yes, it's... oh, mighty fine timepiece you got there, preacher.
So I'm suggesting a negative outcome for this.
Okay.
Now what I'm envisioning is perhaps as this preacher sort of goes to take his watch out, he mentions that he's like in town to visit like a travelling preacher, and something he mentions about it makes us realise that it's the priest who like built our father out of his money. Perhaps
it's actually our father's watch.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
So I was thinking perhaps someone's like gun goes off, it's all tense.
Shall we?
Someone gets shot.
Shall we play it out? Well, I'm interacting with the preacher.
Yep.
Do you want to be a pregnant woman or governor? Because I put 3 people in this coach. Or do you want to play the preacher or pregnant woman or governor or pregnant woman probably? Preacher or governor? Resolved.
I will do the... Go on, I'll do the pregnant woman.
I need somebody to be the preacher. You be the preacher.
I'll do the preacher.
You got the time on you, preacher?
Why, certainly.
Oh, that's a mighty fine timepiece. Let me have a look at. Did you get this?
I was given it by my good friend, the Reverend Jebediah McCarthy. In fact, he's in town.
Get out of the coach.
Climbs out of the coach. He's not armed or anything, obviously he's a man of the cloth.
Right. I'll chuck the watch. Hey, Cactus, check this. Chuck up the watch to you. You seen that before, Cactus?
This is Pa's watch.
You hear that, Reverend?
At this point, you just hear like Bill's like.
Now, you've been a godly man all your life, preacher.
Why, yes, I was raised to believe in the power of the Lord.
And you believe in the power of the Lord, and the Lord is going to take care of your soul.
That's right.
Then say hello to him from me. And I'll turn my back and walk away, assuming that Bill's going to...
Yeah, there's a thunderous like as the shotgun discharges. The preacher sort of like barely has time to like scream and sort of gets thrown back against the coach.
I'm going to say that the coachman and the governor both try to defend people at this point, and everybody ends up getting shot by us in the panic. We didn't mean to kill anybody here, but once the bullets started flying, it was us or them.
Okay, so we brought that scene
The
to a
pregnant
resolution.
woman actually had a pistol and was trying to shoot one of us.
It's like negative dice. You decide which of me or Hannah has the negative dice.
I'll tell you what, John. You were the trigger man.
That's fine.
You killed the man.
Okay, so just to be a bit different for my scene, I'm going to resolve the scene. So it's up to you guys to establish what the scene is between you. And then I get to determine how it's resolved.
Okay. So.
How about later that evening, sitting round a campfire, cooking some beans? Because that's what cowboys do.
Okay. and can I be, just because it's a playtest game, can I just say that I shot the pregnant woman.
Okay.
I just like...
But you
I
should have
purposely
to.
didn't volunteer any of them. I'm assuming that if we don't say, then we don't know.
No, I'm going to
You
say...
know you shot the
I'm going to
pregnant
say, you guys saw me, just like, because it was like the intensity of the situation. I dragged the screaming pregnant woman out of the thing and mercifully
Well,
put my...
she had a pistol
I was
trained
thinking
on
maybe like you turned around and you caught like the glint of the pistol as you draw it out, and with your like your reflexes, you just like spun round and
just shot her.
Yeah.
You've just come back. You've only buried one of the people, and it was the pregnant woman. So you might be mightily pissed off that I've shot just like a pregnant woman, even though she had a small pistol. That all went to shit. Everybody died quite quickly. We still didn't find out where Dad's watch, how we got hold of Dad's watch. You just went nuts. Just for a bit of into-character development. If you like.
Okay.
Bill, how's them beans?
I reckon they'll be done in a minute. Slim pickings though. I'm going to stretch them out a bit with water.
Walks back over.
God bless the
Throws
man who
down
invented
the
whiskey
spade.
to save a man from water. Tyler?
We could have tied her up. She wouldn't have remembered anything.
She had a gun. It was in a gator.
Pointed at you, but there were only 2 shots in it. Did you see how her hands were shaking? Fucking kid was still kicking her from the inside.
Look, Val, these things happen. This is the life we chose.
Well, hell, if there's one
This
thing
is the
that
life he forced us into.
if there's one thing Gold Creek doesn't need, it's another child running around the streets, another hungry little mouth to feed.
Violet, is this more about that woman?
We need to find the preacher.
We don't need to go railing off finding no preacher. What we need to do is we need to carry on living our lives. We need to just change state, and we need to move on. That preacher's cost us our daddy, and okay, today maybe that preacher cost me my soul. Yeah, I shot that woman, and maybe I regret it. Maybe revenge is just going to lead to people dying.
I reckon now's the time, not the time for regrets, but I have to say that if that preacher's walking around with our daddy's watch, a fine piece of workmanship, if I do say so myself, a costly piece, then I reckon if he's giving such things away to his friends, then he's not short of a dime or two.
Well, of course he's not short of a dime or two, you moron. He's taking money from people.
And I
Let's
reckon...
find him and take it back.
And I reckon, I remember what I learned at Sunday school, that God says it's an eye for an eye. And I say that some of that money's owed to us, because some of it came from our daddy.
Now, Bill, you may not be the brightest star in the sky, but sometimes who's making sense? We could take that money back. We could do some good with that money. Hell,
Do some good for us. It's about time we got what's owed to us.
yeah, maybe if we made enough, we could perhaps build a Sunday school so other kids could come and learn. But you're right, we should take that money. It's our money.
I get to decide because you framed it. You guys.
So he said at the start he wanted to resolve it.
However, I'm going for another negative one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So what I'm going to say is maybe the shooting occurred like on the outskirts of the shanty town, and that as we're talking, some people have heard it. They know we sort of live out in that area. As we're sort of talking, we hear like the sound of hoofbeats coming in. It's like a posse. We think.
You guys mind if I shut the door?
No. So as we're talking, this posse's like surrounded us because they're planning to like take us in and hang us. So what I'm going to say for the negative is I'm actually going to say that like my character gets like shot and killed while we're trying to escape.
All right.
That takes you out quite early, John.
It does, but you got to remember the scenes can be like flashback scenes, and I still get to determine how the scenes like I'm mainly doing it for like example purposes.
Okay.
That's cool.
But of course, I still get to play a part in like the various scenes going on.
Oh, yeah. If you wanna.
So what I'm going to do is, since Hannah's not got dice, I'm going to give it that to Hannah.
Okay.
Because I choose who it goes to. So as we're all talking, posse surrounds us. We get into a bit of a gunfight. Imagine you two get away.
So with 2 horses for the stagecoach.
Exactly. So maybe you two jump on.
You're sorry.
No, I was going to say, no, it's all good. You're supposed to like discuss it.
I think you're on the back of like one of the horses. You get shot in the back, like which allows the other person on the horse to escape because the horse has lost the load.
Yeah. So maybe like we jump on the horses. Maybe you're riding one. I'm on the back of one. You're on the other. As we're sort of riding away, I've like turned round and I'm like shooting with my shotgun. I catch one in the chest. You two ride off, and when you get to wherever you're going, I'm like on the back of the horse.
Right.
So then we go on to Hannah's scene, and there'll be like 3 more scenes before the middle of it. So do you want to set up a scene or determine how it ends?
No, I want to determine how the next one ends. Which leaves you two to set it up.
Okay. So I think the next scene is Jed and Violet in some backwater like fucking Cold Creek ranch. Cold Creek, not Gold Creek. Cold. In some backwater Cold Creek ranch, where Jed is pretending to be like a faith healer, and Violet's his marking the crowd. So we've actually turned to doing like the actual like.
So you've sort of got the idea of like, oh, if this is working as a scheme for that guy, maybe we can like get in on a bit of that action.
And we'll have the scene. I'm dressing you up as a good guy and me as a bad guy, because I was going to say you could come in and like just find me with piles of money and see like the parallel between what that guy did to our father and what we're doing now, or I could come in and see you with piles of money and draw the same conclusion, just to kick the scene off.
I think it might be more interesting.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
I was going to say, I think it might be more interesting to have like Violet with like the piles of money, because your character, like you mentioned the whole like, oh, maybe we could set up like a Sunday school. So maybe actually you mentioning that gave her the idea, but you'd originally not proposed it as like a sort of get rich quick scheme. You were actually wanting to do something good, but she's like turned it into like the same sort of thing that caused all of our problems. That'd be like a bit of interesting conflict between the 2 characters.
Cool. So yeah.
So Violet's now become a faith healer.
Yeah, you could be the faith, I'll be the mark.
Yeah. So as Jed comes in, Violet sat there with like a piles of money that over the last couple of months you've like built out of all these like impressionable people in the like local area.
I've just had a long walk back, so I have to take a circuitous route so nobody actually like ever sees us together, because otherwise our scheme's blown. Alright. I'm walking through our battered wooden door of this hut that we found in the Midwest. Violet.
Yeah.
That's a pretty tower, isn't it?
100.
100. Fuck. Any coffee?
Check the kettle.
Get down, okay.
See, now I'm going to say at this point, like a young, like sort of scrawny man comes in. He's got, you know, those like old-fashioned like wheelchairs. He's got maybe like his old like mum in this wheelchair, and he's heard about this faith healer. Obviously, yeah, so he sort of like pushes in, and he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, ma'am, I didn't mean to interrupt you here, but obviously, yeah, you got to sweep it all off the table like height. You probably got it in a box or something, just like."
Yeah, a box with a big cross on top that I just closed.
He comes in and he's got his old sort of like arthritic like mother who's like can't get out of the wheelchair, she's quite infirm, and he says, my dear old mother, she was taken ill with the fever last winter, and she's never been able to get out of this chair. Now I heard about the marvellous things you were doing, and I know the Lord works in mysterious ways, but I was wondering if you could see your way fit to...
Hush, friend.
Get out, boy.
The Lord understands.
He sort of looks between you
I'll
uncertainly.
start steering them.
You're tired today. You're too busy.
Oh, please, if you could just see your way free to help,
the
man.
Lord works best at the right time in the right place.
Violet.
We need the congregation. We need the people. We need the faith of for the people.
I'll have like 30 minutes seething watching her go through this.
He's there and he's like, oh, but
I'll
Dr. Jackson says my
of
poor
my
mother.
Office and into the lounge.
Okay, as they're being stared
I'll
out,
give
the last
them
thing you.
spiel.
Okay, as he's being stared out, the last thing you hear him say, Jenny's room, say, oh, well, Dr. Jackson says my poor old Ma's not long for this world. If there's anything you can do to help.
I'll
We don't have much money,
I'll
but
tell him the church demands no donations. The church demands nothing from you. But come to the church on Sunday.
with your wallet.
With your wallet.
He's sort of like, he shakes you
I'll-
by the hand.
I'll keep underlying the fact that we don't want your money. Your money helps us to spread the word to the people, to bring more into the congregation so that more people can help with the faith, so that we can get better results. But we don't need your money, we need you.
As you close the door after giving your spiel and putting them on the hook, as you close the door literally like 2 foot to the right of your head, a clay cup will shatter against the wall. You bitch! That boy could have been any one of us. This is what that bastard did to our pa.
Stupidity breeds stupidity. Why should we not take advantage? We were young and stupid once.
Yeah, and look
With
where
this
we ended
stupid
up.
pa.
You could be putting
Look
a
where
gun
we
in that
are.
poor
Look where
boy's
we are
head.
now.
Violet, look at all this money. What are we doing with this money?
Spreading the word to the people. Didn't you hear me?
No, we're packing up, we're buying a new tent somewhere else, and we're doing it all again. I want to get out. I want to build somewhere, Violet. I want to do something good in this life. I got debts hanging over me, Violet. Ain't no faith gonna heal that. And all we're doing is robbing good folks.
What's your debt?
That bullet should have got me in the back, not Bill.
So I believe since you set this up, it's me and Hannah like suggesting like a close. I'm going to suggest like a positive end to this. That maybe like your character. I'm suggesting that maybe your character's like you've started to have like a bit of like a moral awakening, whereas previously you were like you're all up for the robbing, but now it's started getting a bit more sinister and it's like just conning innocent people. You're maybe not feeling so good about this. Maybe your character's starting to sort of like not exactly turn over a new leaf, but you can at least see the leaf now.
Actually, love, I did say I wanted to resolve this.
She did.
Oh, yeah,
This
yeah,
was mine in your
right.
scene.
Okay, go for it. Oh, was it my scene?
No, it was Hannah's scene to
It was my
resolve. We
choice,
set it
and
up.
I
Oh,
said
that's
I'd like
right.
to
You were
resolve.
absolutely right, sweetie. I do apologise.
Okay.
So yeah, you resolve it.
So, what I would like to happen is sort of a skip ahead tack on of this scene. The church, that Sunday, the man turns up with his mother, and I get the congregation all geared up, and she has a heart attack on the stage.
So I'm guessing that's a
Literally
negative outcome of the
Dies
scene then.
in my arms, which
Obviously.
results in the positive outcome that Violet finally sees what Jed's been getting at, as this old woman dies in her arms, her son having just thrown all her money at me, and I knew there was nothing I could do for this woman. But perhaps she could have actually had a little bit more life had she not been brought into this room full of people shouting, "Praise the Lord," and had a heart attack.
Okay, so you get to pick up one of the big dice, one of the positive dice,
Cool.
and you get to give it to either me or John.
Right. You introduced the old woman and stuff, and I gave John a dice last time, and I still don't really understand how the dice works.
It's all right. It's fine. You'll find out later. Okay, so John, it's your turn to do a scene. Do you want to set it up, or do you want to
I've come round
resolve?
to your way of thinking now. We're
Okay.
going to go and get revenge on the preacher. And we're going to go and set up a Sunday school with our takings.
I'd like to set up the scene where we've sort of like, we're standing outside, you and me, finished Sunday school. It's been going for like 2 months. We've had 3 kids like turn up, and you've been doing a bit of teaching. We've been doing some honest living for 3 months. My soul's been like feeling clear. And then a man comes from like the governmental department to say, "Have you claimed this land?"
Okay, so I assume for the purposes of this scene, I'll be playing the government official since you're both compared as characters.
Well, if you don't mind, since you're dead, John, since you took yourself out of the game.
It's alright, man. It's alright, so I'll walk in and I'll be like, I believe you'll find according to the man, sir, according to the, can I look at your papers? I assume you have the correct state charters to be running a school.
Who in Sam Hill are you?
At which point he like takes his credentials out and says, "Why I'm one of the newly appointed school board inspectors for the state."
School board inspector. Violet, you can read. Does that say what he says it says?
Yeah, it shows you his credentials. Of course, we can't just have anyone going around and setting up a school wherever they will. These things have got to be licensed, and we've got to make sure a certain standard of education for our young folk.
Surely any education is better than no education, boy.
Well, you'd be surprised. I've seen some mighty twisted ways of raising youngsters in my time.
We're not a school, we're a Sunday school.
Well, it's even
teach them reading where we can so they can learn their Bible.
Well, that's even more important. If you're going to be teaching the true way of the Lord of the Bible, then you need to have the right permits to make sure that you're doing everything above board and legal.
We don't need no permit. Violet, tell him we don't need no permit.
Violet probably doesn't know any more about this than Jed does. We thought we were alright to do it.
Now, I am licensed to issue a permit once I've inspected these premises for...
Well, get yourself on then. You need paper or pen?
No, I have all the requisite writing utensils in my saddlebag. However, there is the small matter of the administration fees of $150.
What, $150? You just said $150?
That's right.
That's a lot of money.
I personally feel that no price is too high to place on the education of our young folk.
When are you going to be coming back from work?
Well, it's a yearly fee.
Are you telling me we need to find $150 every year so the great state of Montana will allow us to impart a little bit of reading to improve the lives of the poor children? And listen, we got a boy who comes here, he walks 8 miles here every Sunday just to do a bit of reading.
Well, I'm afraid I don't make these rules, sir, but those are the rules of the state.
Okay then, boy. Say I don't agree with your rules.
Well, then I'd have no choice but to report this to the relevant authorities and have them come here and close down this here establishment.
They'd come here and close us down if you went back and told them?
That's right, sir. I have to make my reports.
Yeah. Why don't you come inside for a coffee? I'll leave that to whoever then.
Okay.
Right.
So, me and you have to decide like whether the scene's going to have like a positive or a negative close. What do you reckon?
I would like to suggest, I don't know whether it's really positive or negative, but that Jed Clayton has actually realised who this is, and it's some kid that we used to know way back when, like when we were 5 or 6. Some kid that you've got just enough dirt on that you could make his life very difficult.
Okay.
And you're going to remind him that you know who he is without necessarily saying who you are, although you've just called me Violet in front of him, so he'll probably suss us out later.
So are you suggesting this is a positive or a negative outcome?
I'm not really sure.
Let's see where it
it's
goes. I'll pour you a cup of coffee.
but I would also like to suggest that...
There you go, Billy.
I'm sorry, sir. Do I know you?
It's Billy, isn't it? William, your mama used to call you.
That's right, sir. William Redball.
Yeah, that's right. I remember you. And I bet
He looks a little bit uncertain as though he's like trying to remember who you are, but obviously it's been a long number of years since you've seen him, and he's like doesn't seem to like know who you are.
Dear Pants of Water. You remember that name now, don't you?
He goes a bit pale.
Yeah, young Indian girl. What were you been time, 13?
Now I don't see that my
Now hold on your horses, Billy.
I don't see my past as any relation to what business is going on here.
Well, I see it does. Maybe for $150 a year. They never need to find out. And I can keep trying to do some good in this world. Of course, Billy. You married now? You got kids?
Again, he sort of goes pale, and you do see as he sort of like rubs his chin, he's actually got like a wedding ring on.
She was a Sioux girl, wasn't she not?
Well, that was all a long time ago.
Violet, isn't there a Sioux tribe on a reservation about 30 miles north of here?
I think there is.
Didn't I remember you reading to me from that paper that time? How them, oh, that's right, they were Navajos. They took vengeance on the
boys have
people.
been learning to read with us.
Now you hear that, Billy?
I think one of them might be that little girl's cousin.
Now wouldn't that be a hoot? What say you, Billy?
Now I'm going to say Billy sort of sits down in
Positive or negative, what happens?
sits down in shock, and as he sits down on an old crate, perhaps a crate that contains some dynamite.
Nice.
He sort of looks down at it for a bit, and I'm going to say that he like notices it, that it's like dynamite, but chooses not to say anything. So I'm going to say like it's a negative outcome because he's noticed like you've got dynamite, you're obviously up to something
He knows
shady,
who we are.
and he knows who you are. However, I'm also going to say that he goes along with your sort of plan and basically says that I suppose I could overlook this this establishment.
That's right, ain't nothing going on legal out here. Just a nice little homely brothel for people to come to.
Choose to determine, and I'm saying he rides off at the end, quite crestfallen, but he has noticed the dynamite. So that's a negative dice, and you decide which of us you're giving it to.
Do you know what? Because I'm going to give it to Tyler.
So take one of the little dice. Okay.
I'll tell you what, shaping up like the story's going to have a happy ending.
I know, yeah. Okay. So what I'm going to say is, for the next scene, I'm going to establish a scene, and I'm going to say this is a flashback scene involving our father's watch, and I'm going to say that this scene begins with all three of us as youngsters, our father's with us, and it's when we're on the ranch before he lost all of his money and he was ill.
Just 1 second, the scene actually begins with Violet sat looking at the watch, just the sunlight catching through the dappled shade, and then the camera pans into like the back of the watch, and it just like fades into that sort of flashback.
Nice, I like it. So we stood on the ranch, our fathers. Which of us is the oldest?
You were the oldest.
I'll play the dad.
Well, I was going to say we're all there as kids. So basically,
I'm out gathering taters.
Well, no, I was going to say the father's there, and he's sort of holding out his hand to like the ranch before he lost his money and he got ill, and he's basically saying like, "Oh, I may as well do the dad because he's going to be talking to you as the oldest." So he's holding out his hand and he's saying, "One day, my boy, oh, this ranch here, as far as you can see from the cattle down there to the fence over yonder, will be yours."
All I want to do is sing. Sorry.
No, it's
You're
fine.
not a
Go with
Monty
that.
Python fan. What will I do with it, Daddy?
He says, "Why, you should run it like I did, and my pappy before him and his pappy before him."
You mean I get to rub the stairs?
That's right, boy. Get your little brother Billy to help you out, and I'm sure Violet can help keep a good home until she's married, of course.
And would I be able to have some drinks and come back and slap my kids and my wife?
He sort of frowns and he goes, "Well, I don't know where you've been getting ideas like that from, boy."
Can I sleep until 2 on a Sunday?
He cuffs you around the inside of the head.
Ow!
Now don't be giving me none of your sass, boy. I'm taking you out here so you can learn how a wrench like this works, because one day you're going to be in charge of all this. I ain't going to be here forever to hold your hand and tell you how to do things.
But there's so much to do, Daddy. How do you do it all?
And he's explaining it. I'm going to say for a bit of foreshadowing as well. As he's doing that, sort of like little like Bill Clayton and little Violet are sort of like running around, like playing like cowboys and Indians, like pretending to shoot each other. And there's a bit of foreshadowing at that point. she's like, pa pa pa,
Bang, bang.
Pretends to shoot like.
Shut you down.
Pretends to shoot like little Bill, and he's like,
He's
like, oh my lord, I've been shot. And that falls down.
She was 5 and you were 6.
Yeah. Bill falls down, and he's like, I've been shot. Well, falls down, just like play acting, obviously.
Now, Bill, stop being dumb and get yourself up. Daddy here's just about to tell me I'm in charge, and there ain't gonna be none of this playing about when I'm in charge. Now, Violet, I know you can't reach, so I expect you to get the stool and go and take that bull into them cows. Now you run along. Dad!
Now, I appreciate you trying to take charge, but don't you forget that I'm still the man around this establishment.
You is, Daddy. You was looking a fine figure. You lost some weight.
Well, it's all right. I'm covered a bit with my chewing tobacco, but, they say it's good for you.
Yeah.
I'll be fine. I'll still be around there a powerful number of years yet.
Can I have some chewing tobacco, Daddy?
Okay, now it's up to you guys to decide whether it's a positive or a negative end to this flashback. So I set it up.
Well, actually, I think that's a very good end to the flashback, as the dad just goes and looks onto a hanky of blood. that fits everything.
So are you saying that's a positive or a negative?
Well, it's a pretty negative.
It's got to be negative.
Really,
Okay, I'm going to give the negative to Carvel.
Okay.
Okay, so now we've done half of the scenes. So we have like the sort of midway like crisis bit at the minute called the tilt. Okay, so let's see how this works. Okay, so what we need to do now is we need to gather up the dice that we've got by our name tokens.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll stick them there. Right, then I can get you to roll all of them. Oh no, sorry, we actually roll our own, so that's my error.
Okay, you had 2 little ones, you had a little one and a big one. I had 2 little ones. I got 6 and a 2.
Okay, now you take the highest number away from the lowest number.
Even with 1.
Okay.
Even me with 4.
Okay, so you got.
No.
Yeah.
You mean you take the little number away from
Yeah.
the other one? Yeah. Not the high number away from the
Yeah.
Right, so I've got a 4.
Okay, so because your dice are both like black dice, so negative dice, you've got 4 black, you've got 1 black. Now I've got 5, so I've got 1 white left on mine. Okay, so the player with the highest white total, me, and the player with the highest black total, you, get to choose the tilt elements. And it's a standard list of details. So the tilt table is there. Okay, so now Hannah, if you could roll those dice there, the ones that are still in the centre. Okay, now you get to pick 2 elements from there, I believe. So
Do I
each,
pick 2 at once or do we take it in turns?
we each pick 2, so you pick 1 and then you pick the specific.
Right, okay.
We obviously have to use the numbers there on the
Yeah.
centre pile. And then I pick 1 as well because I've got the highest white total.
So we can't have any number 2s.
It's pretty not wise because how close we're all sat to each other.
That ship sailed.
Then I would like to suggest mayhem, a cold-blooded score settling.
Okay, then I get to pick 1 to my highest white total. So I am going to pick number 6, which is a failure. And then I'm going to pick number 3, so we've got 3 there, which is a tiny mistake leads to ruin. So we stick those in on the table. So we've got mayhem, a cold-blooded score, settled, and failure, a tiny mistake that leads to ruin. These are like fair game for anyone to involve in their scenes. So we reassemble the central dice pool, which is what we've got there. And we then crack on with Act 2. Now in this, it's similar to the first scene. However, in this one, when you take turns, you get a scene as before. You choose to establish or resolve as before. But in part 2, when you get a dice at the end of the scene, you keep it. You don't give it to someone else. The tilt elements can make an appearance at any time during Act 2. It could be right away at the last minute, whenever it makes sense. But we should keep them in mind and be driving towards them. So we want to be driving towards some sort of score being settled and some sort of like failure where a tiny mistake leads to ruin. That's where the story's sort of heading.
Nice.
And when we get to the last dice, that is a wild dice. It can be either black or white.
It don't matter.
Exactly. Okay, so we crack on with the scenes. So yourself, Anna.
Right. So the Claytons have now established their school. I think the next scene should be where they find out where the preacher is.
So you're establishing this scene, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, so how do we find out where the preacher is and what we're doing about it?
One of the kids from the Sunday school
Nice.
mentions that their mama took them to a different church and they did things different, and it was like this and it was like that, and it was amazing and there were miracles. And we sort of gently question this child and realise that they are in fact talking about the Reverend Jebediah McCarthy.
Okay, so I assume in this situation I'll be playing what, the small child, since you two are there. Okay, so
so you're playing a little boy.
Yeah.
What's your name?
Okay, I'm going to say my name's
Tom.
Yeah, Tom.
I'll be holding open the door of the Sunday school. It's my little ritual. It's how I get my little kicks, like watching the kids file in.
Okay, so I'm going to say that I've obviously just mentioned that he went with his family to his faith here.
Thomas, is that a new shirt?
Why, yes, sir. My family took me out to see the good Reverend McCarthy. My uncle, he's powerful sick, and he said that the only thing that made him feel any better was when the Reverend laid his hands on him and healed him in the name of the Lord. So we have to get dressed up in our Sunday best to go and see the Reverend.
I see. I got stuff to do, Thomas.
Where was this, Thomas?
He says, "Oh, why the Reverend's got a big tent set up just about halfway between Gold Creek and the city, a nice big open field there." That's right, yeah. Back at the old near the old Clayton place.
Where the stream runs down past the big oak tree.
That's right, yeah, in the big field, just next door. It's got a big tent set up there.
Son of a bitch. Fucking Winchesters.
The kid's like, "Man,
you just cursed, ma'am!"
I will make my apologies to the children.
Okay, now
And go and tell Jed.
I'm going to suggest that actually
He's
I'm going to suggest that as actually quite a positive outcome. So I'm going to say that maybe those feelings that he could sort of like turn the other cheek, that have been sort of like bubbling up inside Jed, maybe he sees this as an opportunity to like actually do some good rather than just like hunt the guy down. Even if perhaps Violet doesn't see things the same way.
Okay, I'll be down by the creek, just watching the water.
He's back.
I heard.
He's set up on Pa's ranch.
On Pa's ranch?
By the old oak tree.
Cactus, do you believe in God? I don't mean bullshit. There's no kids around here right now. Do you believe in God?
I can't say for certain.
Sometimes I look in this river and I see them shining lights from the sun on the river, and I just see those eyes looking at me sometimes. And you Bible, I've been listening when you've been reading to the kids, and sometimes you tell right pretty stories about people being nice to one another and doing good shit, and sometimes you tell different stories about how God sent floods to kill the bad people, and he got the Sodomites and Gomorrah. Which God is the right God? Because there seem to be two in that there book.
You notice that most of the time when I'm talking to the children, I'm reading from the later part of the book. There's some good ideas there. I don't know how true the stories are, but they make sense. It'd be nice if we all looked to one another.
But didn't God cast out them angels that didn't do what he said? See, that God, he had the right idea. I've been trying to live like the New Testify, and I think I'm supposed to live like the Old Testify. Maybe God sent that man back there and put him on the ranch just so I could go and make sure he can't have nobody else. Because right now, little Thomas there, he's got a new shirt, and I know his daddy, he got claimed 10 years ago. But it's been dry for 10 years, so they must be living on borrowed time.
Okay, so since we've sort of drawn that scene to a close, you get to keep the positive dice, John, since we're in the second half, so...
It was Hannah's scene.
Was it your scene? No, it was John's scene, wasn't it?
Oh, it was my scene, yeah.
It was Hannah's scene.
Alright, well, you get to keep the positive dice in.
Yay.
Okay, you'll go.
Oh, okay. I'd like to resolve the scene, please. I've not done that yet.
Okay, do you mind if I suggest a setup?
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to suggest that as you're having this talk around the fire, the sort of camera pans in. And
That was by the lake, but yeah.
Yeah, but you've got like a fire going, it's like an evening, like a little campfire or whatever. As the camera like pans around Jed, it reveals that he's actually wearing like 2 guns on his like belt, like an extra gun. And the camera sort of like focuses in on one of the guns, and it goes back to a sort of flashback scene where it's Jed and Bill like learning to shoot when they're sort of like young men, like shooting cans off a fence back on the ranch.
Okay.
And it sort of zooms out, and like the extra gun he's wearing is like Bill's gun.
Can Violet be start there going, I want to go, and let's go.
I would actually like to suggest that Violet has just knocked 6 bottles off the wall and said, beat that, and hands one of her brothers the guns.
Okay, yeah, so we'll say that like
While you're reloading, she goes and puts the bottles
Bill's like
back up.
Violet his gun, like passes it back to him after she's shot these cans down, and Bill's like, well, if that don't beat all, I reckon she's got you whooped there, Jed.
Ain't no whoop there. All that is luck. That's what that there is. Now me, I'm gonna line myself up right. I'm gonna take these cans down, and if I don't, it's not because she's better. It's because she's luckier. You know nothing, Bill.
And the cans are set back up. Bill goes over and like puts them back up on the fence.
You know what I like to do sometimes, Bill? Sometimes
What's that?
I like to shoot these cans, and I like to imagine old Miss Lovelace's fucking face on one of them cans. Back when she used to beat us at school. You remember?
Hey, I remember that she was an old witch. That's what I remember. And I remember that stick she always used to carry. I think I still got the marks on my back.
Oh, but no sticks there for Violet. Oh, Violet, she
Only
likes
because Pa
to
wouldn't pay for
read.
me to go to school, so I learned from Uncle Joe.
Uncle
He
Joe.
taught me far better than that old witch ever did.
Well, you can't be too hard on us for not going we're not going to no fancy la-di-da school there about it. After all, we got to stay here and I got to help Jed learn how to manage the ranch for when
That's
Pappy's
right.
gone. He's not getting any younger, you know.
When we grow up, and either you get married or become a prostitute, as befits a lady. You heard what Mama said. Mama don't like you running around like us boys, getting all dirty. She said, you gotta dress.
But Bill sort of does join in the laugh and he's taking his hat off and put it across his chest when you've mentioned that clearly departed mother.
What'd you say, Violet? Shall we say Daddy get you in that dress? You could have a bath. Like a proper lady, walking around in a little dress, all clean.
I'll say at this point, Bill sort of frowns and he says, hey, now, we should all be fine and we've got to, stand up for each other. After all, someday it's going to just be us looking after this here ranch.
Now, you don't worry no little brother, and you don't worry no little sister, because your brother Jed's here, and if there's one thing your Jed can do, it's protect you. I'm going to turn, and I'm just going to shoot a can. I'm going to shoot 3 cans off the fence now.
Ding, ding.
When I grow up, I'm going to be a famous gunslinger, and people are going to pay to come and see me do that.
Hell, when you grow up, Jed, you're going to be stuck on this ranch like our daddy is.
Yeah, and people's going to come here to see me shoot shit. Right, I'd like to... sorry, I sort of didn't introduce that sort of... It's a positive resolution.
Was that your scene?
Yeah.
We get to decide it then.
No, I said I'd resolve it.
Oh, yes, that's
set
right, we
it up.
set it up, yeah. Apologies.
So yeah, it resolving quite a family sort of warmth, like one of those lush memories that, when the final scene.
Add in that Violet says when she grows up she wants to be a teacher. And she won't whip her students.
So yeah, so it gives us that warm sort of feeling, and it's one of those establishing scenes of our inherent lust to drive together. And Jed's feelings of protecting his family, which is probably why the fact that Bill died cut him so deeply.
Okay, yeah, so you get to keep positive dice. Okay, so it's now round to my scene. I'm going to go for setting up a scene, and I'm going to say that the 2 remaining Claytons, Violet and Jed, they've heard that the actual the preacher is actually planning to visit their school because word of their sort of their raising of the kids has gone around.
So we're living under a different surname.
Yeah, of course, yeah. So he's actually planning to come and visit your school, and obviously that could
I
be
robbed some
thing.
people called Clayton some years ago. In relation?
Now that could obviously be a positive thing, but it's also a potential chance for revenge. So I'm gonna say the scene doesn't take place when he arrives. It's taking place the evening before all the kids have gone home. Jed and Violet are sort of sat around. Violet's probably counting her money or whatever. Jed's sort of sat there. You've got this piece of paper on the table in front of you, which is basically this preacher sent you a letter saying that he's planning on visiting your school because he's heard about the good work you've been doing.
Can I offer something into the mix there?
Yeah, of course.
Just that small mistake leads to ruin. Can I say that Violet takes the choice? She doesn't trust Jed, not to just fucking go nuts and shit. So she takes the firing pin out of Jed's pistols while he's not looking. So they're still there. But if he throws the trigger,
or maybe she just takes the bullets out of his gun because you loaded it. Why would it unload it?
Yeah, either or. Because later on,
because you like your scheme you've got going. If the preacher turns up and he blams him into oblivion, that's the end of your school.
I was intending to shoot him myself.
Oh, were you? In that case, we'll switch that round. I don't trust because I think I'm still torn. I think we've got something going here.
I'm going for the cold-blooded killing.
Okay, so yeah, you're torn. You think you can eventually swing around and make this into something better, not just a money-making scheme. So you've taken the bullets out of her gun.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the start.
He's seen that I've stashed my gun in a back room somewhere loaded. in a place it wouldn't normally be, and I'm obviously planning to take the preacher in there and shoot him.
Can I elaborate on that? I'm going to say that what you've actually done is you've taken like Bill's old gun and you're like keeping it loaded. And he's like, well, why would you be keeping like Bill's gun loaded? And he's like, oh, I've seen this letter. I know that the preacher's coming. I know what she's got in mind.
No,
Somebody's just told me.
And when he
Can't read.
when he looks at the bullets, he notices that like etched onto the side of each one of them, it says Rev Jeb McCarthy.
Nice. Okay, so we start this scene with you two like in the evening. Obviously, bullets have already been emptied. You know she's got the gun and she's planning to shoot him. You know
You've got the bullet with his name on it.
You know the Reverend's like coming tomorrow. So go for the scene.
Huh? Any more of that tobacco left there, Violet?
A little bit.
I'm thinking I might have a pipe. I might sit out on our porch and watch the sun go down. We don't sit together no more, Violet. You notice that?
You're right, we should do that.
Not in any sort of final way.
How'd you like to go down to the stream and set up an old campfire like we used to?
Yeah, why not? Maybe I could tickle us some trout. Right, we'll relocate the scene to the fucking campfire.
We have a lovely evening together, which is reminiscent of those lovely evenings which we used to spend as three siblings. And perhaps we
Turn it
get
into
a
a
little,
flashback.
we get a little montage of like us growing up with Pa and Ma there to start with, sitting by this campfire, and then Ma's gone and we're that little bit older, and then we're like teenagers and Pa's gone as well, and suddenly our clothes are looking a lot shittier.
You've got to do the thing as well where like my character's like sat there up until the last, and then we just start smoking, and I just sort of like look at the two of you and I like smile as I drag on this pipe. Then as the smoke blows out, it sort of clears and like he's no longer there.
There's a lot of shit going on, just. Did you feel that?
Perhaps this even leads Violet to sort of question her rather cold-blooded plan, to perhaps consider that she ought to discuss it with her brother.
Okay, now I set up that scene, so you guys get to decide how it ends.
Let's play it out a little. Let's see.
Yeah, go for it. But like I say, you decide how it's going to end, and then you can still play it out.
Yeah.
So do you guys want a positive or a negative? Remember, we've got 3 positives and a negative, but the last dice we use can be either.
I've been planning to kill that preacher when he turned up tomorrow. I've been keeping Bill's gun all loaded ready for him.
Carry on, you two.
I didn't know that. We got a life here at the moment, Violet. We got these children to look after, and okay, neither of us got a wife or a husband, but that don't matter none. And I just think maybe that preacher could have robbed a lot of life from people we love already, and maybe just going shooting them. Let's send another posse, and who knows? This time maybe you die or I die, and that preacher's just robbed some more life from our family. I want to kill him myself, Violet. Sometimes I wake up at night and I'm wringing his neck in my dreams, and all I'm doing is turning my shirt between my hands.
We should be thinking smart. We should find a way to show what he is.
Well, maybe what we should do is we should go and put ourselves in his congregation. Maybe, yeah. Maybe what we do is we go up and we don't kill him. No. We go to his congregation and we make people listen to us, and we show those people what a bad man that Jebediah is. And then we kill him with words. I never thought I'd say that. Is that even possible, Bob? Can you kill someone with words?
I think that'd be a good point to fade out that scene. You're like, can you kill someone with words?
Bullets.
Okay, so you guys get to determine whether it's a positive or negative, and then I get that dice.
Seems fairly positive.
Yeah, it's positive.
We've gone from cold-blooded murder to let's get the law on him.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got 3 scenes left, so it's your next scene.
Okay. Well, the obvious next place to go is a few days later. He's come and met us at the ranch. He's like declared it. Sorry, he's had a positive review of our Sunday school, and we're now part of his congregation. We're perhaps in the congregation doing our songs and everything, and then cut to the coming out of the church bit where everybody just has an answer rather than bothering with the actual church.
Okay, no problem. So I'm going to say, just to add in a bit, as the 2 of you come out of the church, because I'll be playing like the various like bystanders, etc. As you come out of the church, there's still a few people, because it's like a big tent, as we established previously, on like your old family ranch, as was. As you come out, all of the sort of people are like full of praise. There's like people going, my child was sick with the pox until the Reverend laid his hands on it. And now he's all healed and everything's fine. And everyone's like, oh yeah, the Reverend is a wonderful person. He's been a boon to this community. And like, loads of people are like singing his praises.
Can I say that as well, part of this scene, because we've been doing this act ourselves, I've had a bit of a revelation, or we did between us, and prior to this we went around some of the local drinking dens and actually managed to find like a couple of the marks that he plants in the crowd to like pretend to be sick.
Yeah.
And we've slipped like $50 to come and like tell the truth. We plan to like humiliate him in public.
Okay, so I'm going to say at this point, since you guys have like stepped outside for a bit of air or whatever, you hear like a lot of sort of like dissension and people sort of like grumbling and like shouting inside the tent.
We'll go in and obviously I'm going to go in anyway and see what that shit.
As you go in, you can see the mark that you paid has like stood up and he said, "Oh well, I was told by the preacher that I had to say my leg was cured. Truth be told, my leg is all strapped up and I'm leaning on the stick." And he sort of like, as he stands up, he turns around and he shows it's basically like a stick concealed down like his trouser leg to like, so that he could stand up and go, "I've been healed." A few people don't really know what to do. There's like shouts of disbelief and a number of people are like sort of saying that he was just trying to besmirch the Reverend's good name. Other people are going, "Oh well, yeah. How about the people that he said he'd healed who like died like shortly afterwards?" So there's chaos has erupted inside the tent. As you look up, you can see the Reverend like with a couple of his helpers, and like his helpers are obviously trying to like shoo him out the back of the tent.
Right. I'll stand up on a table and drop a glass just like and smash it on the floor just to get like everybody's attention. Now wait a minute.
Everyone falls quiet.
Good gentlemen, people of Gold Creek Shanty, are we lawless? Are we savages? Are we living on a reservation 30 miles up north? No, we is people of the Confederation of the United States. And I say, this man brings a pretty serious claim. Preachers should not be above the law. God is above the law. Preachers, they's below God, and does that work valid? Does that make them below the law?
This was your scene, wasn't it?
No, it's Hannah's.
It's Hannah's. Okay. So
well, it was all of ours actually. It sort of got.
Whose turn was it?
It's Hannah's turn.
Okay. I'd like to suggest, John, that we have a negative outcome to this, because you know the whole idea of like a tiny mistake leads to ruin. I'm going to say that the actual guy who you sort of blackmailed into sort of like ignoring the legislation to your school, he's realised who you were after he thought about it and what you said, and he's sort of like mentioned to a lot of people around town that like, oh, the two like surviving like Clayton like siblings are like posing as school teachers, and that rumour's spread. So as you stand up and trying to calm everyone down, like one of the people points up and shouts at you and goes, "I know just what sort of person you are, Jed Clayton," and sort of like outs you as this sort of like previous outlaw.
So do I.
No.
My brother, he's a good man, and he was driven to what he done by that man there when he stole our pa's money, stole our pa's ranch. Look at our ranch.
I recall your pa gave him that money. That man didn't steal nothing, but I recall nobody invited you to rob those people.
I heard he killed a parcel of folk up by North Gulch.
No, that's not true. Things just got out of hand. He had my daddy's watch.
I'd like to say at this point, like basically the whole like tent like erupts in like chaos, as it often does in westerns, but like people take the opportunity to like smash their fists into the face of their neighbours and sort of generally get involved in like a massive brawl, and perhaps the preacher's like ushered out the back and you guys are sort of separated from him as this chaos erupts.
Okay, so that's a negative outcome for me.
Yeah, so that you get to keep that.
Are the Claytons perhaps able to sneak out in the chaos?
Well, we'll find out, because we now go on to Carvel's penultimate scene.
Well, I'm afraid to take this Ballad of Claytons to a very dark level, but I'm going to say that during the ensuing chaos, you and I get cornered in a barn. Inside that barn is one horse.
Don't forget, we've only got positive dice left. I'm just saying, I'm sure you can manage it.
And we're having well, you see, this is the trouble between proposing and I want to propose and resolve.
Got pick one, John.
Oh. No, I'm going to resolve then. Fuck it, I'm going to resolve.
Okay, are you happy for me to suggest a scene?
Yeah, but I'd like to hear it, sorry.
Okay, no problems.
Very kind of you.
How are you finding the Fiasco so far?
I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it for a little, because I did a watch check first, and we've been at this now for just over 2 hours.
Yeah.
And I think it's been a nice little enjoyable.
That's it. I mean, obviously, once we like, because we've done one game, obviously now knowing the rules.
It's just easy enough to go.
Yeah.
I can do that. Yeah.
Bit like when we first did Microscope. The first time we did it took like a fair old while, whereas now we know what we're doing.
Yeah, it's a cool game. I'd quite like to come up with or find additional scenarios.
Yeah, they've done a couple of like additional books that just have like play sets in them. You can get them online, and there's also guidelines in one of the other books for like creating your own place. And there's a bit in here about doing it.
Well, look at getting the other book about creating your own playset. Find out what the name is and what an order in it. Sparrows.
No problems, I can do that. Okay, so we're on the scene. What I was going to propose is, to be honest, I'm quite happy to go with like John's idea of like you two have been separated. There's like an angry mob coming for you. There's like one horse that you've managed to like get, and the two of you are having like your conversation as this like mob's getting closer. Because obviously previously they were sort of divided by their attention between, oh, is the Reverend fake or is he not? Whereas now they're like, we definitely know them two are murderers. So it's now not two mobs like cross purposes like fighting each other. It's like one mob with the purpose of like lynching you two. And you guys have maybe got a bit ahead of them. You've stopped for like a breather. You've got one horse that you managed to like get out.
Valid.
I would like to suggest that rather than bowling, we're actually headed for the mines, where we know we've hidden our crate of dynamite. And that perhaps the Reverend himself is at the head of this mob.
Okay, yeah, he's trying to distract from the fact that he's been called a fraud, and it's like, oh, nothing like a lynching to put like fear regarding to people.
Yeah.
Who doesn't like a lynching?
So, okay, we pick up with you two. You've got your one horse. You've got a bit ahead of the mob, although you can see the sort of like torches in the distance as it's getting dark.
Well, we both know this horse ain't gonna be able to take us both much further or much faster than that there mob. As
When
gonna
you go ahead, they're less likely to hit a woman. Right on, brother.
Well, this state, this hang in the state of Montana? Are you serious, Violet child? Now I am your big brother, and you.
I'm a better shot.
You don't understand, Violet. When we go, there's no Claytons left. You could go and be a lady like Mama wanted. Now you're gonna go and get yourself a dress. You're gonna get yourself a new name, and goddamn it, woman, you're gonna get yourself a husband, and then you're gonna make some children. Because I think that's what God meant men for. And Clayton's gonna stop here. I's gonna stop here, and they ain't gonna come looking for you no more. It's all gonna be right. Now you take that horse and you do as your brother tells you. Don't get no fancy ideas about blowing the Reverend up with that there creep dynamite after I'm gone. Don't be getting no fancy ideas like that. You ride on. And if she won't listen to me, actually, yeah, you won't listen to me, I'll give her a good right cross. Because this is a western. And then sling her over the horse and slap its arse.
Okay. So, yeah, I'd say that's a fairly positive.
I think the positive ending is like, I take down, okay, we just extend the scene slightly. So the posse turn up. I've still got my gun. Gun from Earth. He's like, priest turns up, like, posse, go on. Hang it!
He's like, there he is, the murdering son of a whore. Hang him hard up. People are like, hang him up, hang him from the old tree. And you actually see someone come forward, like, throw a rope over, like, the thick bough of a nearby tree.
Now, wait a minute, folks. What you got here is somebody who ain't going to resist no hanging. I've made my peace with God. And me and God spoke about this, and he said everything will be fine, just as long as you got company. And I'm going to literally, like, whip my gun out and, like, pull the trigger with, the priest. He might soil himself a little bit. But there's no bullets. We took the bullets out.
Okay, yeah.
That one tiny mistake.
And that's what happens. As you do that, people are like, he tried to kill the preacher. And they like,
no.
They swarm around you, sort of like grabbing you. You put in the noose and like, up to the tree.
How is this a positive outcome?
Because you managed to get away.
Okay.
And he didn't like kill the priest. So he redeemed himself slightly. That's a positive outcome. Okay, so now we get to the final one. Now this can be, for the purposes of this scene, it can be either positive or negative because it's the last dice. So, since it would normally be my scene though, what I'm going to do is I'm going to resolve this scene. So I'm going to leave it to you two to frame it.
Go on then, you're the last Clayton. What are you going to do? Are you going to go and get married?
Last of the no Claytons.
Yeah, nice. Are you going to go and get married like Jed said, put on a dress like Mama wanted to? Or are you going to take that crate of dynamite and blow yourself up a preacher?
Violet rides on to the next town, where she hands herself over to the sheriff, whose child she'd been teaching. She tells him who she is.
Okay.
She tells him
The Ballad of Claytons.
everything she's done and what's happened to her brothers and all the rest of it. Throws herself on the mercy of the law. Now Violet hasn't actually killed anybody. This sheriff and his mate the lawyer take sympathy on Violet, and while they can't do fuck all for her for the next 20 years as she goes and like breaks rocks somewhere, they do legally track down and deal with the preacher. Violet comes out of school and joins a convent. Sorry, comes out of school, prison, same thing.
Yeah, call it what it is.
Comes out of prison and joins a convent,
Okay.
and eventually
She married
becomes a
Well,
teacher.
we do the eventually in the aftermath in a second.
All right, okay.
That's all fine with that joining the content. I'm saying it's a fairly positive outcome, so I get that dice. So that's all the scenes. We now go on to the aftermath. So basically, you take your dice you've got here in front of you.
So we've got 4 dice each.
Yep. You roll the dice and you take the smallest number or the highest number.
Right.
What if you've all rolled all the same number, John?
What, so you've got 4 black, 4 white, so your total 0.
Right, so we're taking the blacks away from the whites, or the whites away from the
Yes, that's right,
blacks. Okay,
Go on.
I've got
Do it.
6.
6 what? White or black?
6 black.
Okay, and I've got 4 white. Okay, so this isn't the aftermath table. Okay, so you got the 0, John. So
Yeah.
we'll start with you. 0. The worst thing in the universe is how your character's story ends. So the worst thing for your character, obviously, it says here this probably doesn't include death, since death would be way better than whatever this is. But obviously, your character's actually dead. So how does his legacy come to be something really bad and horrible?
The dead thing makes sense because I knew I was throwing away my life, but I thought I'd made the agreed bargain of I'm going to take that bastard with me. So I laid down my life for nothing.
So sort of saying is maybe in the aftermath, it's just an end scene of you sort of as they surround you and sort of hang you up, looking at the preacher smiling as you realise that you.
I told her to find a man have babies, so she ended up marrying God, and I don't see no Jesus running about.
Okay, so that's the aftermath for you. What did
You wasted my life, or rather, you wasted my death.
No more Claytons.
What was your total, Violet?
4 black.
Okay, 4 black. Your aftermath is described as savage. Savage as in something is broken or mashed. Maybe you've got a permanent limp and a bad reputation. Plus your aspirations completely fail.
Alright.
So how does it end for your character? Maybe after you've come out of the convent and you're or maybe you're in the
Oh
convent.
no, I've tried to join a convent, but they've refused to allow me to because of my history of being a charlatan preacher and all that business. So I've ended up just scratching a living on some dirt farm somewhere.
Okay.
But still, no babies.
So that's how it ends for Violet Clayton, and I've got 4 white. So my legacy is described as bitter. You know what it's like to be utterly crushed, casually brought low, forced to eat your own words and stand mute and powerless before your enemies. They gloat and you are helpless. So my character, obviously having died earlier on, I'm going to say his legacy is that as you were hung up, Jed is just sort of hanging there, the gun that you tried to use, which just happened to be Bill's gun you'd snatched up, that drops into the dirt at your feet. The preacher walks over, picks it up, tucks it in his pocket, and walks off smiling to himself.
Worth a couple of quid there.
And he walks off smiling to himself, and the man that we all hated has got the very weapon that was intended to kill him. And as he walks off, the tinkly western music plays, and that's where we reach the end of the Ballad of the Claytons. And that's the end of the Ballad of the Claytons.
So they're all quite miserable endings then.
Well, basically, what happens is the higher number you get, the better your outcome.
Ah.
So it's all about fundamentally just collecting 4 dice and rolling them.
Yeah. Bum bum.
So what you really want is all the same kind of dice.
No.
Yeah, basically, because if you've got nothing
Yeah.
to subtract, you're obviously going to get higher. So that's the way the basic mechanics work. What did you guys think of that?
It's quite a
That's
cool
it.
game.
I thought it was a fairly sort of just a bit of a.
It's like 10 to 3, we rocketed through that.
That's it, exactly. It is meant to be just a quick sort of collaborative storytelling game.
Not role played in one, and let's say that's quite a quick resolution.
Like I say as well, it's supposed to be things where it's not GM-less as such. It's the GMing duties are shared out amongst everybody. But that's just basically how it works. So yeah, I'm up for doing another game. I'm glad you guys enjoyed that. Like I say, it's supposed to be just a quick game you can play without having to have a defined GM.
There is
and stuff.
actually, have you seen these Insta setup things?
Yeah, they're the table. Oh yeah, there are some Insta setup ones, but since we're playing out, so we'll take us through it. You get to learn the rules better rather than just sort of being blah. That's what we started with, and I thought it worked out quite well. We got 2 and a bit hours worth of Wild West wiki Wild West fun out of it.
Yeah.
And we built up the sort of heartbreaking story of the three Clayton
It is a bit
siblings.
heartbreaking, isn't it?
Well, that's the whole idea with it being a fiasco. It's supposed to emulate those movies where like they come up with like what seems like a good plan, and then just like everything goes fucking wrong due to like conflicts and stuff like that.
I feel like it was directed by Quentin Tarantino.